Welcome to Low Tone Lights. My name is Adormo Mile, and I'll be your server for tonight. We hope that you can take a break from the mind tornadoes outdoors with a fabulous evening. Before we start our meal, please feel free to grab a drink or a pillow. All our dishes are expertise free, made with local opinions, and contain 100% personal insights. If you're allergic to any of our ingredients, we are sorry to inform you that our kitchen does not possess any alternative stock. Also, please consider tipping to our Tiltify campaign for the Unbound organization to help families across the globe escape from monetary and intellectual poverty for a gift of thanks from us at Low Tone Lights. That wraps up the preparations for our course. So let's begin. Our inspiration for tonight's course, a dish to remember, starts with our hors d'oeuvre, blank. How people are remembered is a common motivation that influences the way they act in accordance to time, place, and occasion. Let's consider how much information is involved with just one of those three elements. Time is a multifaceted factor, such as the person's age, the current year, or simply what time it is. Somehow, all three elements are under consideration for members of society, because how we present ourselves directly contributes to how we are remembered by others, also coined as impressions. To take a step further, how is legacy nothing more than our final impression? This last image of ourselves has a Schrodinger's cat situation with its value, though. On one hand, it is considered the most important part of a person's life, as it might be the only thing left after we leave the physical world. Yet, many people have forfeited the chance to develop their legacy in exchange for momentary desires, instinctual decisions, or social temptations. A quick teaser of our thought process can be seen with our appetizer, fillingless croquettes. Now, think about the legacy of a familiar person, historical figure, or even an object. How much of that narrative leaves out information that may quote unquote ruin the tale, per se, of the impression that the story is meant to convey? So many similarities appear between the kinds of stories and another set of tales, the Greek myths. On a basic level, who are the Olympic gods? They exude power, control the elements, and save the world from titans. This seems to carry a similar tone akin to how notable historical figures are lauded. However, go beneath the Greek surface and discover Zeus's despicable treatment of women, the constant betrayal amongst an inbred family, and the non-stop manipulation of beings that are considered lower than the gods. From this perspective, perhaps a legacy is more akin to a highlight reel, solely focusing on the elements that can be celebrated. But celebrated by whom? Furthermore, what does the quality of such legacies entail when they are missing so many essential details of the story? We continue down the mind map with our salad, squid ink salad. Now, instead of talking about surface level legacies, now let's talk about posthumous alterations of legacies due to newly recognized past actions. This is in regards to legacies that are altered due to resurfaced missing elements. The effects can range from recontextualizing a person's legacy to a complete shift in perception. Interestingly, damage to one person's legacy usually coincides with the rise of another. Look at scientific credit, for example. Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla being two famous cases where their genius has been re-evaluated due to the former's intellectual plagiarism of the latter. However, what if the discovery of new and potentially damaging evidence against a person's legacy possesses different value depending on the time period it was discovered in? First, the 21st century has a significantly higher literacy rate compared to single digit centuries. This not only affects how many people can access certain information, but also those people's priorities, creating different interpretations surrounding the same piece of evidence. Furthermore, improvements in translation technology will mean that more people from completely different cultural backgrounds from the person whose legacy is in question can bring new perspectives through global critiques. Finally, every time period has its idiosyncratic social, economic, and ethical norms. So there must be some contextualization when deeming someone's actions as immoral based on another time period's standards. All of these components mean that when new information arrives at a specific time period, interpretation may be shaped by certain factors outside of the historical context. At last, we arrive at our main course, present Beijing duck. So, then what does our course mean for the legacies of people who are living today? The risk to one's legacy has become even greater than ever before. The increasing development of documenting one's life, whether done knowingly or not, and wider access to that information means that ignoring and escaping life's mistakes is going to be difficult. Even if one lives perfectly by the standards of their time, future generations and their scrutiny may easily determine such a life as unworthy of historical recognition. These new considerations should be important for all actions because so many decisions are oriented towards results. Those results are sometimes tangible goals like money or unpredictable aspirations like reputation. Whatever those targets are, how they might affect legacy is unknown. Initially, that might sound as if building a legacy is potentially pointless. However, it actually emphasizes the bravery required to take action. When a person follows one's values, they are taking a gamble that what they are doing is right. The justification might only last a decade, a year, or even a month. But the best that can be hoped from this process is that future generations will be able to contextualize and empathize with the decisions made today. For this dish, we also recommend pairing with an LTL 1905. Phineas Gage is a commonly cited figure when explaining about the brain's impact on personality as he survived an horrific accident of an iron pike piercing through his head, destroying the frontal lobe of his brain. By contrasting a part of him that was considered sophisticated and the following personality of a being incapable of controlling inhibitions, we now know that the frontal lobe is crucial for decision making. In this case, what is Phineas Gage's legacy? Is it the railroad worker he grew up into? Is it the man who mentally lost all control? Or is it the textbook example that people in the early 21st century generally recognize him as? I hope everything was to your liking. May I interest you in some dessert? Tonight, we are offering Moment Creme Brulee. This entire course has been of legacies from the perspective of those who don't have a legacy yet. So why did we make our course? To think about what this means for the present. In one way, the point was to highlight the unpredictable nature of a course of action in life. Of course, preparation and thorough thinking can create opportunities and choices, and the value of that hard work should never be ignored. This is only meant as a reminder to stay in the moment. There can be a plan, objective, or pressure involved, but a present needs to be open before return to sender. Historians' perspective on the constantly retroactive nature of historical context might be insightful to understand how personal legacy might be affected in the same way. It might be interesting to think about tonight's course in this manner. Tomorrow is tomorrow until there is no tomorrow. Thank you for joining us this week. If you have anything to inform management about your experience, please refer to our Twitter, Reddit, or Facebook. Once again, if you wish to support Low Tone Lights, a tip to our Tiltify campaign is always appreciated. All contributions go to the Unbound organization, supporting families and children across the world for better living conditions and educational opportunities. As an establishment passionate about cooking with new ideas, we wish to contribute to more people having the chance to share their dishes to make a more interesting world. All details about the cause and our gifts in gratitude of your generosity are in our Tiltify campaign, so feel free to take a look at how you can provide the ingredients for an amazing meal to those who need it most. Thank you so much for visiting us today, and we hope you'll be with us when our lights turn back on.